Do not adjust your sets. It is the handsome Dan. I am the handsome Dan. Dan Potts is not here tonight, so he's left it to me to come and have a lovely chat with you, lovely people. First and foremost, international break, boys, before I welcome you all in. How are we all enjoying it?
It's great. It's always great. We love our national team.
Honestly, I get so bored of it. The only reason I watched it midweek is because it was Wales, and because I live so close to the border, I always get absolute pelters. But let's go into it. Let's welcome a few of you. So, Matt, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you, mate. Yeah, lovely to see you all. It's been a while. I'm in a lovely sunny Florida at the moment, so
nice
international stuff. So all good. How are you boys doing?
Yeah, not bad. I'm a bit annoyed that you're in Florida, mate. I'll be honest, but we'll go with what we can. Rich, how you doing, my man?
Not too bad. A bit disappointed about our last result, but yeah, can't complain. It's been a good start to the season.
How many games unbeaten, Rich? Were you 20-odd games?
19.
Yeah. We can have that, but anyway.
It feels so good to be able to say that. I'm not bothered about my last result. It seems like it's been that all freaking season. Adam, how you doing with the beautiful hair? As you'll notice, I've tried to do it myself tonight, but it just doesn't sit like yours.
Well, they say imitation is the finest form of flattery, so I appreciate it. Yeah. How am I doing? Good. Yeah. It's to be honest, it's nice to have a bit of a break from Brighton football. We're so up and down this year. I don't know what team we are, and the Wolves game was not great. It's a free 3 points against Wolves, and we cocked it up. But here we are. And long may it continue. Emilio, my man, how you doing? You good?
It's good to see you all. A bit like Adam. Yeah, look, this division you're going to see a lot of teams taking points off each other. It's definitely a harder division than last year. I said that before the season started, and you're going to win one game, lose the next. So I don't think it's about consistency. It's about getting enough points to stay up. So I'm getting a little bit twitchy, a little bit nervous, but we've had an okay start. But yeah, it's just there's a few alarm bells starting to ring in my ears. But look, let's do the show. Let's stay positive, and as long as we stay up, that's the priority. Yeah,
that's it. And finally, Conrad. Last but not least, how are you doing, my guy? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. It's weird. We had the international break come after a loss, only our second of the season so far. So it's just actually a bit disappointing, this one. Whereas the last one we were like, no, not now. We're doing so well.
That's football. Big shout out to Rumble, Ryan. Good to see you, my man. Steve, good to see you. And as Ryan said, make sure you hit the like button on your way in, people, and subscribe. It's absolutely free, and make sure you're showing love to everybody who's on this channel and following their channels as well. Big up to all of you. Let me just try and get through some of these. Let's make sure we're showing the love. There we go. Perfect.
Dan, you're being called a hater for saying you're unhappy he's in Florida. You've got to address that, surely.
Love that.
I'm annoyed. I'll tell you why I'm annoyed, and I'll keep it nice and brief, because I've just come back from a holiday myself, and I go back to work, and I hate cold weather. So the fact this man is in sunny Florida, and by the way, I was meant to go to Florida next year, but we've had to cancel it. So that's another bit of saltiness from me.
I'll live it up for you, mate. Don't worry.
I appreciate that, Matt. I appreciate that. Well, let's start with the season. It's kind of like a bit of a season review here, because we're in the international break. I'll ask the question: are we all where we expected to be at this stage in the season? Let's go to
Rich has got a nosebleed. What are you talking about?
I beg your pardon.
Did I expect to be here? No. You know what's weird though? We've picked up points where we shouldn't have, and dropped points where we shouldn't have.
The Premier League. The Premier League.
It's crazy. It's kind of weirdly evened itself out. I mean, look, it was always going to be a difficult season because of the added factor of Europe. And last Sunday's game showed. So did the game against Forest. It showed. All those games were after European games, and after 60 minutes, we were just flat on our face. But I cannot complain one bit. 19 games unbeaten, which includes winning 2 trophies. It's unreal. I'm just disappointed. That Everton game, we threw it away. For 65 minutes, we were like, they couldn't touch us. Like, we were so good. We just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. Mateta. And then there was a significant moment which I think turned the crowd. Yeremy Pino was standing in front of the ball for a free kick. Mate, we're winning. just move the 10 yards back and it proper round the Everton fans up. And add that to the fact that we were tired. Yeah, they just took over. And after that penalty, it was theirs to win and ours to lose. And that's what happened. But yeah,
it's a tough one with Palace because, as you say, you've done so well at the start of this season. You have. And that unbeaten run was incredible. It really was. Glasner gets all the plaudits, as he rightly should. Poor bugger gets linked to Manchester United, so he must be absolutely devastated at that. But I think this is the thing about the Premier League. It's such a crazy beast where you can be flying high and you go in there game to game and you're saying, we're doing all right here. And you come to Everton, you think, Everton are a decent team, but we've pulled out decent results here, and bang, the Premier League just has that habit of slapping you straight across the face and saying, no, we're not letting you have it all the way. So, look, Palace, I think there's so much talk around Palace at the moment with the manager, with some of your top players as well. It's always a hard position to be in. It is always a hard position. And Rich, you've been a fan for a long time, so you know that, you understand that. I just think with Palace, and if anyone wants to come into this, for as good as you are, it's just that air of uncertainty of what's next. Like, so many clubs have a clear plan of what they're going to do. But with Palace, the worry is, well, what if they do get pulled apart? What if the manager goes? What if you lose Gahey? Which, let's be honest, it's looking more and more likely with the bigger clubs now that are circling. Do we have an issue here where Palace then could see themselves fall down, or are you confident enough to say no, my ownership, they've got a plan here, we're going to be okay? I mean, if anyone wants to chime in with that.
I could answer that quickly. I never know what's coming each season. We just go for the ride, we just enjoy it as much as we can, because we kind of have, with players, we have it all the time. Elise, Saha, Eze now, we have, like, it's nothing new to us. The one thing that is new is that this is the first time we've had a manager that, even if these players go, he will still make it work somehow. I think our summer window rests on Oliver Glasner. If we can get him to sign a new deal, it doesn't matter who it goes, because I think he will find players to fit the system and make it work. If we lose Glasner, I fear for our future.
Well,
that's how good he is.
I remember, Rich, we were having a conversation last November when you were struggling. Glasner was struggling to find his feet. You were sort of sitting on the fence at the time. A lot of people were actually won him out, didn't want to give him the time. And look, 6 months later, you've had a great 2025, 2 trophies. I predicted, because you'd be this not surprise package, a team that could break the top 7 outside of your traditional top 7. I still haven't changed my view on that. I still think you've got enough quality there. You're difficult to beat, as we found out to our cost last season. It's just, he's got them playing to a certain system that you're not easy to break down. The fact that you've gone to Everton and be disappointed, it's not an easy game. Everton, again, were very good second half of last year. And they are where I think they should be. They're better than many of the teams, many of the clubs that are on this call tonight. So David Moyes has done a great job. They've got a new stadium, passionate fans. But Everton are better than last year. Many other teams are better than last year. So Brentford, Bournemouth, Brighton, Fulham, Palace, Sunderland, etc. It's tougher this year to pick up those points.
Yeah, and on that point, Emilio,
count, but I think he's done a bloody good job for you, and
and on that point, even despite the defeat, what I'm still happy about is the fact we're creating chances still. It's down to us missing chances more than we're not creating chances and we're getting beat. So yeah, look, hopefully we could get it fixed. Our next 2 are tough though. We've got Bournemouth at home and Arsenal away. So come back to me after the Arsenal game. It depends where we are in the table.
Bournemouth is interesting, isn't it? Because it's like the face-off of the 2 clubs that have clearly got excellent managers but were completely ransacked.
Great comment.
And it's we can see what Iraola's done at Bournemouth. You see what Glasner's done at Palace. Both have gone way above and beyond what everyone expected. Everyone was calling Bournemouth to be down in 15th, 16th, or even in the relegation battle this year. Now everyone's talking about, well, which Champions League club is Semenyo going to go to? And you kind of feel, as you said, if these clubs can keep those managers in Glasner and Iraola, the sky's sort of, as much as I hate to say it, the sky's the limit, because as you said, it doesn't really matter about the players. The system is so strong, the manager's so strong.
Yeah.
Really matter. I think the only thing with Palace you look at this year is how hard is that European football going to start to hit the squad. Can you refuel in January a little bit, assuming Glasnow's there? So
yeah, we're going to need to. We've already seen it's Thursday, Sunday is really tough with a small squad. So
on that manager note, I think there's such an importance around the manager, and like coming from a negative side of it of Brentford losing Thomas Frank, you kind of see the other end of the spectrum in terms of, you know, football's such a weird sport. Like you kind of see the progress, you see the building blocks, and you look at your Fulhams, Brentford, Brighton, all the clubs where you can see the roadmap and it's all planned out, and then it just takes that one thing to change. And I, you know, the same as you guys with the clubs that are there. Every time a Brentford player leaves, when Tony left, it was like, oh, you know, Brentford are real. I knew for a fact we were fine. When Mbeumo went, I knew we'd be fine. When Wiese went, I knew we were fine. When Thomas Frank went, is the first time I started to go, oh shit, we might be in trouble here, because everything hinges. When you find that manager who's worth their weight in gold, you know, it permeates through the club and the fan base, and you kind of buy into not only the strategic stuff on the pitch, but like them as a person. You kind of feel they embody the club. And then I'm not particularly anti Keith Andrews at Brentford at the moment, and I think I trust the board and the behind the scenes staff enough to know that they probably made the right decision. But Thomas Frank, to me, if someone had said you can either lose Wiese, Mbeumo, and Tony, or Frank, genuinely, I would rather have those three players have gone. And
what happened with Wiese though? Because like he went to Newcastle, now he's out for a while.
He's done his knee in international. To be honest, and I'm not sounding like a hater here. Like obviously, love Tony, and Mbeumo I think will do well at Man United. He's a great player. I don't think Wiese will do anything for Newcastle. I think the Brentford team set up around him really well. I said at the beginning when he went, I said he won't get 10 goals and assists this season. Bit unfair now, seeing he's probably going to be out for like 5 months. But no, I don't.
You meant what you said, Matt. You meant what you said.
Yeah. If anything, it helped my cause. But no, I don't think he's. And it was just a shame the way it panned out. You know, when you look at Mbeumo when he came back to Brentford the other day, man, like people miss him so much, and he left the club with grace and elegance, and like everyone still loves him to bits. And you know, as a Brentford fan, same with Fulham, maybe with Palace, kind of with Everton, like. You see these players go to big clubs, and when they do it in the right amicable way, you can't help but go, good luck to you, man. Like all the best. Like, you know, hopefully don't score against us. But yeah, Wiese was just a weird one, and it's just didn't really sit right because, you know, a year before he was in the paper saying about like what Brentford had done, and you guys are probably aware of like the whole like acid attack or whatever. Like, you know, he was blind in one eye, and Brentford took a punt on him and kind of got into where he was. And I'm not saying hold players hostage or to ransom, but like, there was a lot that the club did for him, and he probably could have exited in a better way. Like the strategy and how he left was not
so sad, Matt, though, isn't it? And I think it goes, I'm glad we're on Brentford here, because I think it goes about the character of the footballer, which is why Manchester United, I think, really, really pushed to get Bryan Mbeumo over the line, because he is a top bloke. He's a good person. I think in football, we have so many mercenaries that are still earning a lot of money. Still, you know, a lot of them played for United, for Christ's sake. But we have a lot of people who are just not good people. And I think if you can fill your club with a group of players that are good people, I think that's where you become as successful as you are. And Brentford have done so well. I remember Brentford coming up, and you know, Matt, I can sort of remember us talking in London. I was very, very drunk. But the thing I like about Brentford is the way that the club has been run. Now, I actually feel like the Keith Andrews appointment, everybody, I don't think anybody can honestly sit here and say, nah, they'll be all right. You know, I think Keith Andrews is going to be okay there. He's the man to, you know, sort of take them to the next step, blah, blah, blah. But I actually feel like Brentford can go about their business this season and under the radar. People are not going to be looking for Brentford to be pulling up trees. And I think for a manager, that's probably the best first season you can have. As long as you keep the team up, as long as you get some decent results. I mean, look, let's be honest. 3-1 against United flattered United. It should have been more. It should have been so much more. So I think as long as you get the points tally to keep you up and Keith Andrews grows within the role, I think you'd be fine. And you know, the signings you got come in, that Igor up top, he's a beast. He
was there last season. He was actually injured the whole season, and then we've got about 5 or 6 players that are coming back from injury. That, you know, Hickey, the left and right back, who's absolutely amazing. Obviously brought in that Coyote as well, and Potts messages me every like 2 weeks, being like, "I can't wait till we take him off your hands." So cheers, mate. But he's a fantastic player. So they bought really well, and you're right. I don't think anyone was going like, "Oh, Keith Andrews is the right man for the job." But there was talks of us chatting to like Pochettino and stuff, and we're not that club. Like, we're not like, if we'd have bought in Poch, and again, not just saying it to kind of cover my mouth, but like, I would have been a bit worried because it wasn't a very us signing. And to be honest, like when we bought in Henderson, again, we don't normally do that. We don't really bring, apart from maybe Ben Mee 3 or 4 years before, we don't really bring in those big name players. We very much look around the continent for those young players. But Henderson, also as well, I've hated Jordan Henderson solidly for 10 years. He's had like 3 man of the match performances. It's been absolutely unreal, and I've just had to eat humble pie.
With him though, all of the top ex players, they always say the same thing. He is the character you need at your football club.
It's almost like a better, like, in terms of sentiment of player, this player's no, but like Robbie Savage, he's the kind of guy that, like, when he was on your team, everyone loved him, and everyone who played against him was like, he's an absolute twat, and I hate him. But like, and also like, we were a very Norgard, fantastic for us as a captain, but like, he was quite soft spoken. He was quite soft in midfield. Whereas Henderson, you watch him. The reason why I hated him is when we played Liverpool a few years before, he was just in the ref's ear the whole game, chirping away in his ear, and everyone was like, "Leave him alone." Like, and now he does it for us, and I'm like, "Good, we're finally getting decisions that we never got before."
He doesn't shut up, Henderson.
Relentlessly,
it's classic Robbie Savage syndrome. That is, everyone hated Robbie Savage, but you want a player like that on.
He's a manager on the pitch, Henderson.
And not only that, but like, you look at a couple of his assists as well. Like, he's still got it, man. And like, I'm happy to.
You sound like an England manager.
yeah. The way he passes it sideways is.
He can't be an England manager, Adam. He's not going against his nation's fans.
Yeah.
But I think Brentford will be fine this season. I do, and obviously I know we haven't got you for long, Matt. So I just wanted to obviously make sure we spoke about them. But I do want to get a bit on Brighton as well, because Adam, Brighton this season, I think. It's a tough one with Brighton. I don't know. I don't know what we were all expecting with Brighton. I want to know what you were expecting with Brighton, Adam, because the table's a bit of a dodgy one this season.
Yeah, I think with the transfer window, by the way, Brighton in general, Brighton and Brentford, there's a lot of parallels between the two clubs, right? The owners, they both made their money in sports betting and data and that type of thing. There's a big rivalry there, and the clubs in general are run similarly in the sense that you have this setup where the players and the manager are very important, yes, and we talked about Thomas Frank, but there's a level of consistency with the way the club operates.
Yeah.
Even when the players and the managers do go, you're getting similar types of things. Like when Matt said we were never going to get Poch, and we rarely go for someone like a Henderson. Same with Brighton, right? We're not going to go for a big name manager. We're going to go and try and find someone that's the next up and comer. We're not necessarily going to go out and sign this player that everyone's heard of. We're going to sign some random from the Romanian third division. We're going to make it work. And spatter them in with players like Henderson, where it's sort of like, you had your day. You were good one time. Now you're in the twilight of your career. We're going to bring you in so you're a good guy with all the youngsters there. This year, I think our transfer window was a weird one. We're a weakened team than we were last year. Defensively, we've got a lot more depth, but we're still playing the same players. Attacking, we lost João Pedro. That's a tough one. Whatever you thought of him, he was a big player last season. Mitoma hasn't found his form this year. Danny Welbeck looks his age this year. And Carlos Balaba's head was, for some reason, turned by Man United. And he's been half the player he was last year. So we're talking about really important people that were in this team the previous season.
Let's get that knife out of my back there, Adam.
Yeah. So I mean, to be honest, I feel like he's playing in a Man United shirt at the moment. That's the standard of play.
Here we go.
So did we expect this? A little bit, but I wouldn't have expected in ways. Well, this is very Brighton that our 2 wins this season have been against Manchester City and Chelsea. That's very Brighton. And then we've dropped points against the Wolves of the world, with all due respect to them. So we'll see. There's a lot of fans calling for Herzl's head.
Really?
I know, and everyone thinks
that.
You say from the outside, people are like, "Oh, Brighton, they're just plodding along doing their normal thing." People aren't happy with the way we're playing nowadays. Everyone still has this soft spot for Roberto De Zerbi and that passion he had, style of football he played. Herzl doesn't have that same mentality, and we're always watching his games and thinking, we don't know what the plan is here. You sort of just pass the ball out to the wing and see what happens. That's the plan this year, it seems. And people are getting a bit frustrated with that. I genuinely think if we see a string of bad results, we will be under pressure because he's not endeared himself to the fans massively.
Interesting.
It's
Interesting.
My heart bleeds for you. It really does. And, I tell you what, I wanted to ask you about Belabor. I don't want to make this about United, don't worry. But
that's unusual.
Hey, come on now. You sound like a wife. Matt, are you off, mate?
Yes, boys.
There, mate.
Take care, mate. Take care. Thanks for jumping on. Take care, mate. Bye-bye. I wanted to ask you about Belabor quickly. He's come off a lot this season. Now, my mate was at the Wolves game at the weekend and he said it was a tactical decision to go 2 up top. Is it been just poor performances from him, or has it just been tactical reasons?
No, you can say it's tactical reasons, but last year, whatever tactical change you made, you kept Carlos Belabor around because he influenced the game so heavily. You would take the other person off in that pivot. So no, he's been at the start of the season. There was talks about an injury that he was carrying, and we all hoped that he'll come back a bit stronger after that injury. But then we started to realise it's not. There's not an injury here. He's just not playing to the same level. The game against Wolves, he got an early yellow card, which resulted in the Wolves manager get sent off for some reason. So
that was bizarre.
That was a real bizarre, weird one. But no, he's just not been the same player by any stretch of the imagination. And you have to put 2 and 2 together and feel like it's the Man United thing that happened. And very clearly, he will be moving on next year. If not in January, I would not be shocked at this point. And I made the mistake of saying on our podcast in the transfer window, I was like, you know what? Providing he doesn't get seriously injured, the good thing is there's no way Carlos Belabor's value goes down. There's only upside. And now I think I think he's probably gone down.
Yeah, I say, is he deliberately lowering his value at the minute to be like, you can get rid of him or something, you don't want him?
It's so weird because he was so unbelievably good last year and he's really been nowhere close.
It's a tough one though, because here's where I lie with this. You know, we all know who he's linked with. For me, we spoke about Mbeumo being the right character and doing things the right way.
Grimsby fans love him, don't they? Yeah.
Look, you talk about Grimsby, you're giving me shit about, but we're still above you in the table. This terrible Man United side. Let's
for now. So you spent a bit of money to get that.
I just realised that Sunderland are the highest team out of the 4 that are left here.
Yes.
Like, oh my God, I've never been in this position. It's amazing.
Top comrade. But the question is simple. For me, you look at Brian Mbeumo, great character. Do Manchester United really want a player that, if this is true and his performances are as bad as they say they are, do we want him? And then the second thing is if it is a case of his head is turned, why is the manager still picking him, Adam? Why is the manager still putting faith? If this is it a case of just play him until hopefully he comes back in form, his head is back where it needs to be, or what is it?
Yeah, well, it's funny. Someone said on another podcast I was listening to the other day, it's like it doesn't bode well if Carlos Belabor's already lost his mentality, just being rumoured for Manchester United, let alone having to play for them. So yeah, I don't know how that would go if he actually did move. I think when it comes to the manager picking him, we're not massively spoiled for choice at that position. You've got to remember, we've had to churn through a lot of players. I say churn through, hold a lot of players in that role over the years that were very good players and have now gone on to other things. The conveyor belt isn't just constant. It's not like, oh yeah, it's the backup Carlos Belabor that we've got. But Hertzler, again, back to the piece about the manager, people are questioning. He's playing Wiefer, the Dutch defensive midfielder who could play where Carlos Belabor does at right back fairly consistently. Whereas we would think we'll just put Wiefer there next to Ayari, who's a youngster who's been very, very good so far this season, was good last season as well. But he's been very, very focused on we've got to start Carlos Belabor, and if he's being crap, we'll take him off. And he's taken him off a lot this season. So he's not scared to hook him, but he seems to be scared to not start him.
So the other factor with that is then, is there a problem with the manager then, Adam? I'll ask it because you've said it exactly there. You know, he's hooking him. He's happy to take him off. But if you're taking someone off for being poor, then why put him back in the firing line? It's a bizarre one. You've got the boy you just spoke about who he's playing out of position at right back. It's a silly scenario. And I think the other thing with this is I'll ask the question with the manager. Brighton have been a team that everyone's been very jealous of for a long time. You talk about the conveyor belt. How much longer does this go on with this manager, where you're obviously not in the form that you'd like to be? You've won the 2 games. How much longer can this go on with this manager? Is there murmurings already in your fan base of, I don't think this is working out,
Yeah, there absolutely are. And the Wolves game was the thing that really brought that to the forefront. There had been talk about this for quite a while. I think you have to cast your mind back to the Forest game last year where we lost 7-0. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Your manager always gets questioned when you lose 7-0, weirdly. And ever since then, it's always a case of, well, any little misstep that happens, we have to start pointing our fingers a little bit. And I think the concern in the fan base now is that, is he the right guy to do it? We obviously, the fan base still backs him, but there's people that are starting to be of the mindset of, well, we want him to succeed, but we don't think he will. Tony Bloom isn't the type of character that just will get rid of the manager immediately and sort of do a Marinakis sort of scenario. And here we go, here's this guy we'll bring in. But has he had a history where he will make pragmatic decisions? Yeah, well, go back to Chris Hughton, right? People at the time were shocked. What are you doing getting rid of Chris Hughton? So, okay, we want to play a different style of football now. We want to change this club. So at a certain point, they will get tired if the results aren't consistent. The results aren't there. This is a hierarchy within the club that wants this team to be a top 10 team every single year. This should be a team that is in Europe every season or every couple of seasons. That is their aim. That's their mindset. That's the amount of money they put into the club. If Hurtsman can't do that, absolutely, there's going to be people questioning it. Absolutely.
I was going to ask that. I was like, what was your what's their sort of targets for Brighton? Because from the outside looking in, you sort of go, oh, top 10 side, really. You'd imagine Man United and Spurs will pick up, and that of course makes it a bit more of a tighter pack, chasing the top 4. So from the outside looking in, we're going, well, top 10 for Brighton. But do you think the owners are sort of saying, no, it's got to be like 7th? You've got to qualify for these European places to him.
Yeah, well, you bring up an interesting point, right? We just talked about how challenging the Premier League now is. I think you've got about 15 teams in the league that think they're a top 10 team. Right, so everyone's saying, oh, we're a top 10 team, or we should be competing for Europe. I don't know what competing for Europe means at this point, because it's
neither do I, Adam.
Well, in my day it was top 4. Now it's like top 8. It's exactly. Like everyone gets to go.
Emilio will remember this, and Rich will definitely. It was top 2 back in my
absolutely. Yeah,
originally top 2.
So it's a weird situation where you start to assess a manager on like, okay, well, is he helping them qualify for Europe? It's like, well, that's a really tough ask when you aren't part of the old cartel. But it's less, I think, about you have to finish in the European places, and more, do you look like a side that can? And I know that sounds a bit silly to say, but a side that doesn't draw 1-1 with Wolves. And that's the problem. Like, you need to be showing more than that. And did we get lucky in some of the other games against an off Manchester City and a 10-man Chelsea? Yeah, absolutely. That's why we're riding our luck a little bit. We're not looking like a team that we did at parts last season or under Roberto De Zerbi, where you were like, wow, this team could beat anyone on its day and it would deserve it. Now it's not quite there.
We haven't got a Spurs. Sorry, Dan. We haven't got a Spurs fan on, but of course, I know you said
the chat,
well, there we go. Yeah, Sonny, you were saying it's a 1-1 draw. Wolves is terrible. Spurs drew 1-1 as well with Wolves, but are on their like comeback,
last minute,
spell sort of thing there. So, is there like a difference in mentality with that one? I guess because obviously they're second, third. I think I haven't looked at the table since we dropped out the top 3.
Spurs are third. Yeah. Well, you're right, and this is Brighton are quite famous in our own fan base. At least we're quite famous for being the club that loses to sides right in the relegation zone, and we'll then go
on there.
And us,
been there.
We've all got some of that.
And us, don't put us in that category.
I guess we're all doing it.
Just not Man United.
Just not
Hey.
Don't beat anyone. So no, they. Well, I'll tell you what, though, Spurs everyone's talking about how amazing Spurs have done, and they're third. That's great, and there's been some awesome games that Thomas Frank has done. But who was it that they played where they was it Wolves where they just didn't have like a shot on? It was.
I think so. They were terrible against Wolves, and then there was a last minute 94th. Did you say Emilio?
Paulini, I think Paulini. Didn't he?
They got so much stick for that as well, didn't he? Because the ripping the shirt off, and I hate. Do you know what? I'll be honest with you, I hate comments like that. I don't. to score a last-minute goal in any football. I mean, I've when we did it against Grimsby, I was, oh my God, we're going to do it. But it's a last-minute goal. It does stuff to you. So
it does. That, by the way, that game that I was trying to recall was when they played at home against Bournemouth and they lost 1-0.
That's it, yeah.
And Bournemouth had 20 shots to Spurs' 5. And that was when I think everyone was going, oh boy, is Thomas Frank out of his depth? And now people aren't saying quite that now.
No.
Premier League table again, it strikes again. Emilio, what about you, mate, with Fulham? Because obviously Marco Silva, for me, I love Marco Silva as a manager. And you always, every season, I always say, has he taken him as far as he can? Has he taken him as far as he can? Is there now going to be a change? Is he going to move on? But what are your thoughts to him?
Yeah, it's time to move on. Look, it is time to move on, right? Look, he's done a fantastic job, with the squad of players, getting the most out of the players, building people like Muniz. Muniz was awful 3 or 4 years ago. He's now become a hot talent. He's only 23, 24, and he's getting the best out of this crop of players. But I feel like the course is starting to run out now, if that makes sense. It feels like he's not signing a contract extension. The depth of the squad is not big enough. And we've been hit significantly with injuries the last 3 or 4 weeks. Put all that together, we are where I expected to be. I predicted 13th, 14th, so I'm not surprised to see where we are. But something's not right at the club. You can sense it. We're not thrashing team. Brentford's probably the only game where we absolutely annihilated Brentford. Could have won 5 or 6-1.
Our game was weird as well, Emilio, wasn't it? Like I feel like we sort of were really unlucky to not.
Yeah, we didn't. I thought we had moments in that game, but the man of the game, that equaliser was literally the last kick of the game. I think. Yeah. Brighton, I think we're a bit too complacent in that second half. We sort of wanted it a bit more. Brighton it was passing sideways, forward, side. It just was.
Now you see why we're annoyed.
I didn't see what the approach was. I think if you went with more assertive, you might have got a second goal and kill the game off. But whilst it's 1-0, anything can happen, and that's been the story of our season. We're not smashing teams other than Brentford off the park. We're struck. There's a togetherness there. Then let's not get to shy away from that. We've got the spine of that team there from last season and the last couple of seasons, but we've only brought really a couple of new players, or 3 players. One youngster from Bayern Munich, our record signing Kevin from Shakhtar, and Chukwueze from Milan on loan, but with the option to buy, who I think is probably the best of those 3 signings. But something is missing there. Just there's no fire in Marco Silva's belly anymore. I'm fed up of finding excuses about VAR decisions not going the way. Referees should have done this. You've got to change your approach, mate, and find a solution. This is your hardest spell as a Fulham manager in your 5th year.
Emilio, do you think his head's been turned? Because there's been obviously these rumours with potentially going to other clubs.
Yeah, well, Tottenham, him and Thomas Frank went to 5 interviews each. That's fact. He literally marginally lost to Thomas Frank. Yeah, he went for significant interviews last from a reliable source. To be honest with you, Fulham won't let him go to Nottingham Forest. Not mid-season. That won't happen. But am I ready for a change in regime next summer? Yes, I am. If you ask me who I want, I'm not. I can't give you that answer. But
that's the thing, Emilio, isn't it? Though, that's the thing, isn't it? Though, like it's. I think we can all say is we've had managers at our clubs. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for us, where you look at them and you go, okay, they've taken us as far as they can go, but then it's who comes in next, and they have the potential then to undo all of the good work that they've done because he brought you up and you're an established Premier League club, aren't you?
Yeah, and I think if I look at it on the more downbeat side of things, it's 5 seasons. Managers don't stay at clubs that long now. People start, so that's a worry for me. This is his 5th season. People get bored, right? I get bored in the job I'm doing. When I get bored, I'm maybe not as productive as I could be. I sort of lose a bit of focus. Head, like Rich says, gets turned a little bit sometimes. But I think that's happening at the moment. You're not standing on the dotted line. That's impacting performances on the pitch. Injuries are causing a problem. And the depth of the squad is not big enough. And with injuries, it's just something is not right there. And we've got Arsenal at home next weekend and Newcastle away the weekend after. Last year, those 2 games gave us 4 points. Yeah. This year, I'm expecting nothing. I'm not expecting us to get anything at home.
Can you get 3, please, from the second one?
And the second one, look, we went to Newcastle and came from behind and won that game. We beat them at home as well. Can I see that happening this season? I can't see that happening. Last 2 games we've played with no recognised striker, both injured. It's just, yeah, we had some poor VAR decisions. That's, you know, we've all gone through that. We all have those moments. But, you know, the Chelsea game, I won't talk about that again. But those moments here and there, there might be a point here, a couple points there that we've lost. But fundamentally, we haven't woken up this season. You know, the spine of the team is there, but there's injuries here, and people are stepping in, not really hitting the mark. And I don't see that firing in Marco Silva's belly at the moment. And I think he's ready to move on. You know, I think he wants to change, and maybe we need to change to actually build for the future. What I admire about Brighton, Brentford, Palace, you're selling players for 50, 60, 70 million pounds. We're buying established players that don't have that monetary value. That's my concern as well, is that we're trying to build a team around experience. I like to see youth, and subtly we've got a few younger players in the squad. Marco Silva doesn't like to play with younger players. Josh King, 18 years old, he's going to the England under 21 recently. He'll be an England international for, you know, the next 2 or 3 seasons. Smith Rowe needs to wake up. Josh King is keeping Smith Rowe out of the team, but Smith Rowe's what, 23, 24? Good, immense talent there. Kevin, 22, from Brazil. This young striker from Bayern Munich.
Can't be called Kevin.
Yeah, he's called
Brazil.
This Brazilian, yeah.
Like Malcolm and Kevin.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Fred.
Yeah, Malcolm, Kevin.
Don't bring his name up. I don't want to hear
Not that Fred, the other Fred, the striker.
I need to start seeing some of that sort of aging squad move on, build around a younger generation of talent. That may mean a couple of seasons of maybe not hitting your mid-top half, maybe hitting more bottom 6, bottom 7. I'm okay with that, as long as we sort of transition to a new regime, a new system, new tactics, and probably somebody who wants a job. I don't think he wants a job enough at the moment. He's getting frustrated with the owners about their lack of investment, but we're Fulham, for goodness sake. You know, we're not going to have 200, 300 million pounds to spend year on year. We're not generating enough sponsorship to be able to sort out with these new rules around, you know, income versus wages. So, last season, 85% of our turnover was on wages.
I didn't realise the oldest squad in the league. The oldest.
Yeah, it's really rebalancing now with some of these acquisitions. It's rebalancing, but we've kept that effectively the heart of your team from last year. Only Andres Pereira left in the summer. So for me, it's let's stay in this division this season. We are where I expected us to be, 13th, 14th. Just keep faith with the manager. Let's hope with injuries, they've got players recover from injuries, and then we can go back and play for Brentford forward. But like you're saying, Dan, with Brentford, we can just keep under the radar, keep showing up, pick up points, but those points are going to be harder this year because you're better, Spurs are better, Everton are better, Palace will have a better consistent season. And then who's left? You know, you're in that 6 mix, bottom 3 promoted teams. Sorry, Conrad. And then it's Wolves, West Ham, Brentford, Brighton, Forest. Yeah, it's 3 from those 8, in my opinion.
No, I agree. Adam, I know you've got to go, Adam. Appreciate you for sticking around, mate. You've stayed a bit longer than you said you were going to, so I appreciate that, mate. Other than the beautiful hair cream adverts, where can we find you, my man?
That's exclusively that. Now we want to get a BHA. We normally, we'll do a podcast and a live stream after every single game, provided we're absolutely battered. And then we'll give it a miss. But yeah, that's us. Always a pleasure, gents. And I can't, when Emilio's talking, I'm not gonna leave. There's always some nuggets to pick out of that. So I appreciate it as always. Good luck, everyone. Apart from
cheers, Adam. Good to see you, mate.
Take care.
Good riddance, Adam. See you later. Bye.
Guys, before we carry on, Mrs. Potts is in the house and she is hungry for some likes. It takes 2 seconds to hit a like. Make sure you do so. Make sure you're subscribing if you're new, and make sure you're following these fantastic gentlemen that we have had on the panel, including Matt and, of course, the beautiful Adam. My wife's going to start questioning me. I always call him beautiful. On to Conrad. Now, look, we're not going to talk about the previous result. It is what it is.
We can. It's fine.
But Conrad, I'm going to ask you something because this is what annoys me about pundits. This is what I mean. There's a lot. Let's be honest. There's a lot that annoys all of us about pundits. But straight after that game, they're saying, "Oh, is this the start now of Sunderland dropping down the table?" And I've got to say, I think it's lazy to say so. Like, you've lost 2 all season. You're in great form for a team that's come up, and we've all seen teams come up over the past few seasons and just be abysmal, not really give a good go of it. We saw Southampton last season, who were atrocious. Why aren't they getting their flowers, chaps? And I'll come to you first, Conrad. Why aren't you getting your flowers? I don't think you're getting enough.
No, you're right.
I think it's the easy way out to talk about them, and it's a little bit sort of, especially with the way that the last Premier League's gone the last 2 years, where teams don't sit, everyone looks down on the teams that are coming up anyway. Like, what are you doing here? You'll only be here for a year. And it's sort of, ever since all the rules changed, and it sort of became that shut up shop, we fell out of it in like 2017, and it was becoming that at that time. And then ever since then, you've had the same consistent sort of 15, let's say, that are in there, and then the odd 1 or 2 that'll sort of, break that mold. But I think it's just easy for them to say. And I think, weirdly, people have been waiting for the wheels to come off of our run so far, because at the start of the season, when the fixtures came out, it was, you're going to get battered every week, and you'll have less points than Southampton. Then when we actually picked up some points at the start, everyone went, you've got an easy run. You had West Ham and you had Brentford, and you lost to Burnley though, and then and then we go to places like Palace and get a really hard fought point. Our keeper was on absolute flames in the second half of the season.
Keepers are fraud. Since then, he's not pulled off any.
Quality against United. He was
quality against.
Actually, it was a mad save from Bruno. Give him.
It should have been 5-0 by the time it got to.
Honestly, Conrad, I was in a bar. In Gran Canaria, and I dropped my pint glass on the floor. Not through anger. I was just like, I went, how's he
reached that? Yeah,
again. That one he tipped onto the bar.
Well, against Villa, he had his one moment where Cash took a shot, it was almost straight at him, and he sort of palmed it into the top corner, but it did swerve a little. He's still going to save us more points this season than he's going to cost us. He's 22. It's only his second professional season in playing football, and then against Forest, he made another 5-6 saves to keep them out when we were 1-0 up, and then against Man United, he stopped it being a cricket score by like the 20th minute, and then thankfully we made a tactical change to sort of draw it level a bit. You do, actually. Yeah, it's very true. What's your chosen category? No,
it's Conrad, and I tell you what I like about your manager, by the way. First half against United, it wasn't working. He changed it up, and that change did calm it down a bit. Must be nice to have a manager that will make changes if he needs to, especially with a formation. Must be phenomenal, mate. How is it?
It's good. I mean, last season, that was one thing we were quite critical of, but I think because we were higher up the league and trying to win games, it's difficult to affect change and sort of get those results when your squad was as thin as ours, because the other teams that are up there all had promotion money or other players to come off the bench that are still playing in the Premier League, and we were sort of trying to do it, and we managed it in the end. Whereas this way, it's a bit of like, right, this isn't working when we're getting exposed. How do I change that to keep us in this fight, really? So it's a bit of a different sort of one, but it was nice to see it. I still think it was 5 minutes too late at that point, because at 1-0, you had about 4 chances that had all come down that one side, and I was going on my street, just change it, put the 3 on, just do something. Ahmad's walking through us, and we knew he was going to do this. Like, he's played for us. And then, and then you score, and he goes, right, change it. And it was like, as this is the most confident I've ever been, we could have come back to get something in that game. But even then, I was like, it's too late now. But after that game, it was pretty even. We had a couple of chances. You had a couple of chances. It was, fairly even, and it felt like he's a new manager. It's only his 8th game ever of managing in the Premier League, and it was nice to see that he wasn't just stubborn and go, "No, I'm right. This will work. A dinger on one side, Trier on the other. We'll get him behind him." He was like, "We're going to get battered here," and probably there's something in the back of his mind thinking goal difference might matter at the end of the season, and when we lose games, we've lost 2. We tried to keep the score down in them. So it was 2-0 Burnley. It was a last-minute one for 2 because we were chasing the game, trying to get back in it. And, of course, yours, we were like, it could have been 6 at that point. But we were like, it's 2. That's enough. Stop here. Like, we don't need any more.
I mean, I want to ask Emilio, and I want to ask Rich this, and this isn't me from being, because United have always been in the Premier League, so please don't think of it as that. What I'm asking a genuine question. You two are two clubs that have come up from the Championship and been able to establish yourselves. What do you make of Sunderland's business and what they've done in the league so far? Is it something that you look at and go, it's what we did, they're going to be okay? Or do you look at it as something that is a flash in the pan and they will fall down the table? I'll come to you first, Rich.
I was kind of jealous, to be honest. I mean, we've not been able to spend as much money as we've ever since we've been up. I think, as you rightly said, the manager has done a great job because Ipswich spent a lot of money last season.
Correct.
And it didn't work, and it's about finding that balance. And you know what? He played an absolute masterstroke in getting Granit Xhaka in. Someone with just a bit of experience.
Granit Xhaka to them is what Jordan Henderson is doing for Brentford.
Yeah.
And as much as we may not like them, whether their playing style, whether it is, they will give you grit, they will give you experience and know-how, and it's working for them. It is absolutely working for them. So, look, it's embarrassing that people are thinking, they're going to start dropping. It may not happen. They should be celebrating what they've done because they've been complaining the last couple of years that the teams that have come up have gone straight back down. Sunderland are trying to break the apple cart, and they're complaining about it. Just let them play.
That's what I was saying. A bit like everyone was a bit like they're waiting for it to fall apart for us, and we're just a bit like, game by game, we've just got to take each one. We all got a bit overconfident going into Man United, going, right, we're going to kick Amorim out. This is the moment, this is it. And then obviously 2-0 down after half an hour, you're like, why were we all saying this?
Conrad, I was sat in the middle of Gran Canaria. I'll drop that in again, just come back from holiday. And I thought, I found this Irish bar. I thought, there's only a few people in there. Brilliant. I'll sit and watch this. There'll be no one around me. If we lose, I can cry into my pint. Walked in there. 3 Sunderland fans. I thought, really?
They found you.
And you know what? They were the same. They were like, we're up for this. And I was like, I bet you are. But then for United, I thought Le Mans looked decent. And when I'm not going to over-celebrate him because what he did was the basics of what you'd expect a keeper to do. Be comfortable with his feet, be comfortable at saving, coming for crosses. So I'm not going to...
He reminded me of our goalie, that it was just his... coming out and claiming his decision-making, his quickness off the line, just simple things, which is what we've identified in this keeper is he comes out and he catches everything. He comes out and he's quick off the line, as Rich saw when Pino was through in that game, and he was almost on him like a flash in that game. And he just does the basics right, and he's obviously a very good shot stopper too. That one from Xhaka in the first half, that any other keeper that you've had, that's going in. The one that was straight at him in like the 85th minute, again, either of the other 2 keepers, we have megsed him, or you'd have fallen over it. Like,
confidence in the players, but and you saw De Ligt at the end giving him a high five, Luke Shaw, and it was great to see. But back to the question, Emilio. Again, when we talk about becoming an established club in the Premier League, and look, it's their first season up. We're not going to sit here and say Sunderland are going to be established in 5 years. But what I am going to say is, for you, the way that they've started the season. Is this something that should be, as Rich and I have said, fantastic? It's great. Or are we being lulled?
Yeah, you're right. I think Rich said the point that I was going to make as well. But we spent £100 million 7 years ago. Pounds don't make prizes, right? It's it's all about getting the shape of that team and that togetherness, right? You've brought in a lot of players, Conrad. You've got to commend the manager for getting bringing that team together and trying to get some sort of structure and system, because clearly you got promoted literally the last kick of the game last season, and fair play to you that you've got 11 points. And Man United away, Newcastle away aren't the games that are going to determine the success of your season. It's your home form. It's getting that team. You're being a fortress at the Stadium of Light is what's going to keep you up, and winning or not losing, should I say, against the teams around you. That's a success to staying in the division first year. So bottom half of the table, let's be clear, don't lose to Fulham, Brighton, not Palace, I think Forest, Wolves, West Ham, Burnley, Leeds, and win those games at home. It's a bit like Champions League, with the old conventional Champions League football, where you play the same team home and away in a group. You win your home games, but don't lose away. You're going to qualify. And the same thing here. Home form is key for a club like Fulham, Sunderland, when you get promoted. And that's what kept us up for 2 or 3 seasons. Overall wasn't the best, but we were winning points. We had more confidence. We were sussing teams out. We could go to Newcastle away from home, Liverpool, Man United, and not fear these clubs because you become more established. The first year is all about just fighting for your lives, making that home form a fortress, your home stadium a light fortress, not losing those 6 pointers, and get those. Enjoy yourself at Anfield, St James's Park. You can enjoy yourself there. You've got nothing to lose. The pressure is on the home team, not on yourself. That's what we found. And some games we won and we struggled the first year or so to go to these so-called big clubs and get anything from them. So we were relying on home form. But in the last 18 months, 2 years, we can go to Anfield and play them off the park. And we went to Stamford Bridge last year and won. We've gone to Forest last season, beaten twice. We went to St James's Park and won there last year. We go to Man United, win the cup. So we can go to these places and hurt these teams. You just got to make sure your home form is key and you don't lose those 6 pointers.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the home form so far with 2 wins, one last minute, one against Brentford. The Villa one, we got a draw because we had 10 men after half an hour, but we were still the better side with 10 men and probably could have gone on to win that one. Next home game, which is after the international break, is Wolves at home.
Yeah.
Which
you'd expect to be winning that.
I really hope so. Because I really, really do. Because after that, it starts to go into, I think it's Everton, Arsenal, and then you're talking City and Newcastle, and then like Spurs. So it starts to get a bit nasty after that. So we almost want those points on the board nice and early, and just to go. And then we've got AFCON, which makes our team weaker as we get through December and January as well.
And us as well. Yeah, and that's another worry. That's a good point because it's not only have we got injuries, you've got a big Christmas fixture congestion, and yet we're going to lose 3 key players, 3 starting 11 players over 6 weeks.
Well, I think the benefit for us is
I was looking for. We were losing Onana, but he's gone. So now it's just
we've got about 6 or 7 players from all different teams, and the only benefit of that is they all can't get to the final. Like at some point, some of them will be coming home sooner than the others. So, and the one that isn't really playing in Adingra because he's just not quite settled yet. That's the team that's likely to get the furthest in Ivory Coast. So we're a bit like, that's okay. We'll make do with a minute. We've got Mundell coming back. It'll be fine.
So to close the show, guys, I'm going to ask you a nice and easy question. I want you to be grading your teams as the season has gone so far. So, A+ is cream of the crop, goody two shoes. F, as we know, is Manchester United. So we'll go to Conrad first. If you were grading your team this season and tell me why, what would you give your grade and why?
I mean, on all aspects, I probably have to go. It might sound over the top. I'm going to have to give us like an A- from simply the recruitment throughout the whole summer, how we've attacked the season and got the points on the board nice and early. We've made mistakes, of course. We have. Burnley away, we took them too lightly, and Man United we just completely set up wrong. Mistakes from individuals, Reinildo against Villa and the goalkeeper against Villa, but all the other parts of it. Every other thing about us has been incredibly positive. So I'd have to say probably an A- so far.
Nothing wrong with that. Rich, what about you, my man?
I want to go B+. It would have gone into like an A-, A+ had we not lost to Everton and had some of the draws we had been wins. Could they, like the Chelsea game, disallowed goal, the Forest game, tied and kicked in. The Sunderland game, we met Alisson in goal. You
met Jesus.
Nothing. He was saving everything. So, had we not lost to Everton, I would have said an A-, but I'll go B+.
Do you know something? I've got to say, I love the fact you've said that because too many fans, we've all been guilty of it when we've had a good season previously. And a couple of things don't go our way. Some fans will go, ridiculous. It's all a mess. We've got Gay could be going, the manager this. It's ridiculous. I think you have to stay positive, Richard. Fair play to you. I think you have had a really good start.
No one's taking the shine away from me. This has been the best time being a Palace fan.
Yeah. This is it. I'm used to League One at the minute. This is fantastic. Like I really want to go A+ just because I'm not playing Accrington Stanley away again.
Rich, you've had to live through the days of was it Frank de Boer in charge? I mean, that was
a terrible 4 games, wasn't it?
That was
honestly. We've come a long way, guys.
Yeah.
Look at us now. Emilio, what about you, dude?
It's really a B- / C+. I think you've got to rate your team and be grounded to this. I'm not one like I said. It blows hot and cold. I'm trying to be a pragmatist and a realist as well. We are who we are. We're rarely going to get into a top 6 position. So you've got to measure based on where do you think you're realistically going to be. And I think we are where we are. So in that respect, you could say, well, actually, we've done where we expected, B minus. C plus is where injuries, lack of depth, the uncertainty within the club. And then we're sort of 3 or 4 points less than we should be. Partly VAR decisions, but everyone gets those. But partly just the same old point. We keep dropping points from winning positions. We were second worst last season. Only Southampton were worse than us. We've done it. We've done the same again this year. Admittedly, we have 1 point from behind, but we need to stop that. Teams are starting to find us out, and has Marco Silva got enough in the tank to find a solution to injuries, lack of depth, and typically a one-trick pony style of football and brand of football. That needs to change quickly. I'm not expecting anything against Arsenal and Newcastle. If we get anything, it's bonus points. But this November, we've got Wolves at home, and I think we've got Sunderland at home, Conrad.
I think so, yeah.
To those teams, we need 6 points, and then I can breathe more comfortably. Don't get 6 points from those 2 games, and then I will start to worry.
Do you have anything with this comment here from King Hoddle? Make sure Forest don't nab your manager, right? Is that a concern? Because look, I know there's nobody here to defend themselves for Forest, but let's be honest, Forest's season, I think, has been worse than Manchester United's. So much promise. It's all incredible. Seems to be imploding as it's going. Now, if he stays, I think it's only because of loyalty with Marianakis as a friend. But if he goes, well, then it does ruffle a few managers up, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's lazy media talk. Same old problem. He's got a connection with Marianakis from his Olympiacos days. It's just lazy media. So I could write that article and people will believe me. No disrespect to Forest. Why would he go there? What's the incentive to go to Forest? Marco Silva could probably punch higher than that level, but everyone kept saying he was good enough for Man United. I don't think he's good enough for Man United either, or Tottenham job. I think Frank's doing a good job at Spurs. I think Silva wants to stay credible, focus on the pitch, focus on your own team, just keep your head down and deliver results like you've done for the last 4 seasons. And then if you want to leave on a high, leave on good terms and part company. But he won't go to Forest mid-season, and no disrespect. It's like I said, it's a lazy media talk, and there's no incentive to him to go to Forest. Well, why go there? Not a criticism of Forest. Why would he go and work under that regime?
No,
it's he's.
It'd be a strange thing for anybody to do. Any manager that wants to progress, it'd be a strange thing if they don't know Marianakis to sort of put themselves in that position. It'd be really bizarre to do, especially like you say, mid-season. It'd just be.
It won't happen. We won't let him go mid-season. If they pay a buyout cost, he will not be released, not to a rival Premier League club. The only time Silva will be parted company if results start to fall away, and then we're in the bottom 3 in 6 weeks' time. Then there might be a different conversation. But at the moment, he's done a great job for the club. We all love him, but he's not indispensable. No manager is indispensable. And so, but interestingly, I think
except Oliver Glasner.
Look, 6 months, a year ago, people were criticising, wanting him out. Look, he's now won you 2 trophies, and Fulham fans are starting to turn. They're starting to see, well, actually, has it run its course? A Marco Silva journey. People are starting to smell a bit of uncertainty. They don't
How
want
long's he been there
sacked.
again?
Sorry.
How long's he been there?
This is his 5th season. So for me, it's
been there a
just
while.
feeling a bit stale. That's the thing. It's for me. I'm a realist, but it's just feeling a bit stale. I think something needs to be reinvigorated at the club, and it might need a new manager next summer to take the club forward. But who that's going to be, who knows?
The Forest one's an interesting one. Again, I don't want to bash him because there's no one here to defend him, but it's kind of like, Emilio, you made a great point there. Like, other than out-of-work managers who, unfortunately, are out of work for a reason, the managers who have been sacked because they've been poor.
Yeah.
If they were to part ways with Big Ange, it's kind of only mercenary managers, I think, that would go there because I don't think any...
Or Dyche.
Imagine Dyche and Marianakis.
But then you've gone from counter-attack to super-attack to defensive.
Yeah,
it's like you've gone all the way through. Like you've got no style of play.
If I'm Forest, I'm absolutely, for me, I'm bubbles burst because last season, fantastic. They set up in a style of play that they allowed teams to have so much possession and just hit them, as you say, Conrad. This season now, I feel for them in a sense because they don't know what the hell's happening. Where are they in the table? They're like 17th, 16th.
something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's incredible. It's
and European
incredible.
football, extra games.
Exactly that. So it's going to be.
Losing at home to Midtjylland or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
I watched a certain fan channel of that, and he was absolutely livid. And I thought, Jesus Christ! I mean, I
messaged Dave about it because they were literally the goal went in. You couldn't hear the away fans. It was just you're getting sacked in the morning, and I was like. 6 games. I was like, surely not. But Dave, who's obviously on here, was obviously a bit like, yeah, it's turning ugly.
It is turning ugly. I think they're in for a long old season. I really do. I really do. Well, I'll let you have a couple of strays at me because it wouldn't be fair for me to be talking about your clubs and not give you the opportunity. The title on there was Amorim to stay for 3 more years. Now I'll give you my quick snippet of that, and then I'll let you guys come into it. For me, I think Sir Jim was just trying to be a gentleman, and I'm not a big fan of Sir Jim, but I think he was trying to do the gentlemanly thing and say, look, we're backing this guy, regardless of what the outside people are saying. We want him to succeed. We believe in him to succeed. I don't think Sir Jim's got the cutthroatedness about him to sit around and say, no, it's failed. He's going. Now, the reports, obviously, that potentially, we've got investors from the UAE looking. Now, some are saying it's true. Some are saying it's false. You got the guy who's the sports minister of Saudi Arabia causing such a media circus with it yesterday. I spoke about it on my channel earlier on tonight, and I don't think there's smoke without fire. But I don't think in any right mind, any owner can stand there and say, we will give this manager 3 years. Because from my take on it, we're talking about a manager who is yet to win 2 games in a row, which I think after being there for nearly a year is just an utterly ridiculous stat to have. And I also think with the way Manchester United set up, Conrad, you hit the nail on the head when we played you. You changed it up and it become a lot more even. If it wasn't for the 2 goals and your goalkeeper making the early saves before you made the change, it would have been a closer game. My thoughts on Amorim have never changed. I think he's in way over his head. I think he's a bit too arrogant to admit that his style doesn't work in the Premier League, and he doesn't want to do a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1 because if it works, he's going to lose all credibility from what he come over here saying he was here to do. But from your guys' perspective, and I'll come to you first, Emilio, it can't happen, can it? They can't be giving him that long to turn things round.
Yeah, I personally don't like him, right? You said it, I don't like the arrogance of the fella. And I don't know, it's turgid, the football. There's a Man United team. I used to be under Ferguson when we weren't in the Premier League. We were in the Premier League for many seasons of 13 consecutive years. Man United were like my second team because I enjoyed watching the football, the brand of football. They excited me, and that's completely evaporated. You've had manager after manager. It feels like another Van Gaal, to be honest. Turgid, dry football, different style of football. But Man United are a big club. I was interviewing somebody for a job in my team like 3 days ago, and there's a question I asked all people. I said, if you support football, he went, yes. And I said, who do you support? Tottenham. I said, okay. This is me trying to identify, is this person the right cultural fit for the organisation?
I'm going to steal that, Emilio. I'm going to steal that with my staff when I interview from now on.
So I asked the question to see if you can culturally fit into the organisation I'm working for. If you could manage any Premier League club, who would it be and why? And he said Man United, because he thinks he's strong enough and capable enough to turn the fortunes around of the club. And he wants to work in an organisation that's in a mess and can turn things around. So that was his strategy around why he wanted to be a Man United manager if he had the choice to do so. And similar here, Amorim's tried for a year, not good enough, right? You've got his worst record for God knows how many different statistics. And it's just the brand of football. Man United, world club, big club, successful enough. You need a manager who can bring back those fortunes and the brand of football that you're crying out for. I couldn't stand watching Amorim manage Fulham in that style of football 38 games a season. I'd be bored shitless, excuse me. It's just terrible. And the attitude and the arrogance, and put your finger, basically own the problem. Don't complain about other things. Be man up and own your bloody problems. And he's the wrong. I mean, I don't need that arrogance. You need somebody who's played with a nice attacking brand of football. You've got the players to play that brand of football, and you've bought them in the summer. They're wasted there at the moment. Absolutely wasted.
I agree. Rich, what about you, mate? You want him there as long as possible, so we don't
give him 5 years. it will get all this Glasner to United talk out the way and stuff. And what's this, like what Amelia was saying, it's like lazy journalism. Look, if it's going to happen in the summer, then there's nothing we can say about it because obviously his contract runs out. But they're talking about it happening now. Just because we play the same formation. No, we just do it better.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The variation you play with that formation is so much more different. It's expansive, and the players understand what their roles are. Yeah. I look at a group of players at Manchester United, and half the time they're looking, going, "Am I supposed to be there?" Or
yeah.
And I'm meant to believe as a Man United fan. You know, his tagline when he first joined was, "I just need time with him on the training pitch." Mate, you have a week of time with them now. You have nothing but time with them, and there's still no change. Horrendous.
Yeah, obviously, keep him, because knowing our luck, it will be a case where you sack him right before we're meant to play you. We always have to deal with the new manager now.
Well, I'll tell you a date, mate. I'll tell you a date to keep an eye on. 14th of November, that's when his year is up, and that is when the 12 million that we have to pay him becomes different. Then it becomes a change. Then there is because, and I said this to Conrad, I don't know if you were on last time, Rich. This man all last season was, if you don't want me, I'll go. I don't want the money, I'll go. Now all of a sudden he's like, well, there's no talk of him wanting to forego this money anymore. He knows exactly what he's doing. I would like to hope, and I'll come to you, Conrad, just now. I'd like to hope that Manchester United are just poker facing it at the moment and saying, yeah, we back him. Then when that 14th of November comes, if there's no change and we're still languishing in 13th, 14th, they go, off you go, mate. Here's your payoff. Off you go. What are you, Conrad?
Yeah, it's a work because the style of football that we were talking about, it wasn't this style of football at Sporting. Same formation, same setup, but everyone was talking about how great Sporting are at attacking teams and look at how free-flowing they are and the goals that they score. And they battered Man City 4-1, and this is Man City just after their peak treble, I believe, as well. And you're sitting there going, why is it not working? And then it was the players, and then you've actually done well at recruiting and getting a lot of Premier League experience, but you didn't address the midfield. And you sort of went, right, go. And you're like, we'll know better, really, after all of this. And it was like, yes, you've sorted out the keeper. And as we said before about him, I thought that's actually good because you had the choice of Emi Martinez or this guy. And it clearly shows you've done your research to think, no, we're going for this guy over what would have been the easy option of just going, well, he's won a World Cup and he's played in the Premier League. Let's have him. Because that's felt like what Onana did. Well, he's been to finals and, he plays let's get him. It just felt a bit scattergun, and it still feels that way now. The ownership one, I think it's basically the dreaded backing of the manager before they actually sack him is what I think it is. And like you say, there's probably some thing in it of like, right, we've said this, that try and like alleviate that pressure. We'll see if that makes any difference in the next, few games. And if we get to mid-November, we can make a decision then. I don't think you'll be as low as you were last year. Weirdly, I was looking at your results before, and I went, like, against Arsenal, you played well. You really did, actually. It was just they were solid. They were a better outfit than you, and they knew how to manage the game. Then it was, I don't know who your second game was. It was a draw. Fulham. Yeah. And you were winning in that game, wasn't it? And then it was like a last few minutes equaliser. Yeah.
2-0.
Oh, you weren't very good in that game either.
We were awful.
The first 10 minutes, you should have put us out of sight.
It was like, if you're just grinding this out, win ugly maybe. You maybe sort of start to get somewhere, and then Fulham equalised with a few minutes to go, I believe. Was it Smith Rowe coming off the bench, I think, first touch? Yeah. Then you fluke to win against Burnley because they at the end decided to pull somebody down in the box and they were actually better than you. Chelsea is a win, but their keeper got sent off after 4 minutes. You got yourself into a lead, and then when you went down to 10 men, it was pretty even again. And then us, we managed the game wrong from the start, and it cost us early on. So the wins aren't convincing. That I think they're papering over the massive cracks that everybody can clearly see from the outside. Yeah. But you are slightly doing better. But is that enough for Man United, really? That's the big question. Is this enough, really?
And it's a weird one because, bizarrely enough, considering how bad we are, the home fans just they love him. They chant and they chant, and I as a Manchester
I think it's
United
because he's not offensive. Do you think?
no,
Like, do you know
I
what I mean?
get
Like
that, and I think
Mourinho and
I think he's enamored them.
Yeah, and Ranić, and then Ten Hag. They at some points they seem to rub people the wrong way, and Amorim genuinely seems like he's a nice guy, like, but he's just out of his depth, and I think that's why people don't turn on him. Yeah, absolutely.
I'd love him to, but I just think as a manager, you've got to leave. You have to have a certain level of arrogance as a manager. Of course, you do. Yeah,
especially at Man United.
Yeah, you have to, but it borderlines just complete ridiculous.
It was a David Moyes thing. He was almost he has an arrogance about him, especially when he was in charge of us. But when he went into Man United, he sort of didn't realise this needs to be more than what it was before. And obviously now you'd be clamouring for finishing 7th with David Moyes. It'll be
an open top bump.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, guys, look, chat as well. You've all been incredible tonight, and boys, I've loved doing this. We've had a really good football in chat, got a lot off our chest, and obviously with international break, it's never easy as a football fan and actually, I'm so looking forward to next season when they have just that big elongated international break where they get it all out the way, and then football just carries on.
Exactly.
Oh,
we can all sleep for 2 weeks at a time then.
Yeah, exactly that. But before I let you all go, let's give shout-outs to your channels and where people can find you. Conrad, where can we find you, my man?
Yeah, it's at Black Cats TV. We tend to do a live stream for every game, a podcast midweek now with a few other Sunderland channels. So yeah, if you want to hear us talk rubbish about how good we've got it at the minute, then please do subscribe. It really helps us out.
Yeah.
Top man. And Emilio, what about you, my guy?
Yeah, mine's a Fulham Pulse. It's just getting off the ground, to be honest with you. So it's early days. So I'm telling you, that's my private one. But yeah, please do follow me, and you'll start to see a lot more content coming through.
Make sure you do, guys. And then finally, Rich, where can we find you?
Yeah, that's Eagle Eyed Football. What's coming up? 2 match previews. Home games is fan cams, away games is vlogs. So yeah, Bournemouth coming up. So it's gonna be tricky tough. Tricky tough.
Hey, my heart bleeds for you. I got bloody Liverpool at Anfield. So
God, yeah, that is true.
You know what I mean?
But it'd be typical Man United to go and get something from that.
The trick to playing Liverpool, get at them.
Yeah,
exactly.
They're not defensively set, Liverpool, so
they are terrible.
Get at them.
Just get at them.
Yeah.
Honestly,
you nearly won it last year at Anfield. If Maguire could hit about a metre lower, you would have done.
Yeah.
Conrad, as you said, it would just be hilarious with all this bad talk about Amorim not winning 2 games in a row, and we go and do it at Anfield.
Then you'd have won 3 out of 4 at that point, and everyone goes, "Oh, it is starting to do all right."
Yeah, I've got United fans telling me that I'm too negative and saying, "Hang on, we're 6 points off the top." I'm like, "Yeah, we're 7 points off bottom."
Well, listen, we got promoted last season. Everyone rubs in. You were 24 points behind Leeds. Yeah, we were 24 points away from Oxford in 19th as well, but it doesn't matter.
Who cares? Guys, thank you very much for joining me. Myself, Conrad, Emilio, and Rich. By the way, if you want to look for me, mine is Dan United on YouTube, where you will find me crying into my microphone about Manchester United on a daily basis. But other than that, we are out of here. Make sure you like and subscribe on the way out for Dan Potts & Co. And we will see you soon. Take care, everybody, and good night.
Okay, guys. See ya. All the best.